my name is Emily Berlinkoff, and I'm going to be demonstrating a ballet-based workout. That'll be a 5-minute warm-up, then an hour-long workout, and then a 10-minute stretch at the end, all ballet-based. These are totally optional, but I will be using these exercise balls, and I'm also wearing ankle weights. These are totally optional. All the exercises can be done perfectly fine. They're even designed to be used without any extra weights. But if you want to get more out of this workout, then I highly recommend that you use something similar to what I'm using. This whole workout I will be showing from 2 different angles, this angle and this angle. So for each of the exercises, we're going to be doing the actual exercise for 50 seconds, and we're gonna have a break for 10 seconds. If you feel like you need longer than 10 seconds, then just pause the video. And for the stretch, we'll be holding each position for 20 seconds. So let's get started into the warm-up.
So these are just basic jumping jacks. Make sure that you jump as high as you can and lift your arms up over your head. And don't land on straight knees or you could risk injury. So same with the jumping jacks, jump as high as you can and don't land on straight knees or else you might get injured. For the burpees, you guessed it, jump as high as you can and don't land on straight knees or else you might get injured. Same rules as the other 3, plus try and squat as deep as you can to really work those quads. And again, same rules here, and just pretend you're jumping with a skipping rope. And you can use a skipping rope if you really want to. So starting off the actual workout section of this video, you're going to be in ballet position 6, and you're going to plie, releve, rise, and lower. It's very good for working all the muscles that are going to be as well on point, and try and keep your knees, your quads, your ankles together the whole time to really work the quads. While doing most of these exercises, try and squeeze your core as hard as you can and squeeze every muscle you can basically. So for the reverse, just try and get up as high on point as possible. So these next two exercises are just like the first two, but turned out. So try and work the turnout muscles at the back of your thighs, and don't roll your knees over your toes. Try to make the upward motions faster than the downward ones. So while going on releve and rising, try and make that motion faster than when you're plieing and going down. When in second, try not to lift your heels up before you start the releve. Keep your heels planted into the ground. While lowering, try to do a deep squat just to work all those muscles. Same here, try to make your upward motion faster than your downward motion. So see how I'm taking a long time to plie and then quickly going up. When you strain your knees, squeeze your glutes as well, just to keep working those muscles. This exercise is very good for point training. Keep your ankles glued together, don't let them fall apart. To help with balance, keep squeezing your core and your legs. When you're doing a plie, keep your leg where it is. It'll seem to you that it's going higher, but overall, your foot will stay in the same place. Squeeze your abs for this. It'll work right by the hip flexor, and go lower than you actually feel comfortable with. Make sure you fully strain your knee before going up. It'll help you, it'll look nicer, and it'll keep you safe. Every time you lower down, try and keep your leg in the same place, and as you go up, lift up with you to make this into a stretch as well. Weights here are completely optional. You can also use a stretchy band, a resistance band, whatever you want. Just keep your knees in line. Don't twist them inwards or outwards. Lower your bottom leg as close to the ground as possible without actually touching the ground with your knee to maximize the amount that you'll get out of this exercise. When landing, make sure you land on bent knees. Straight knees will injure you, like I have said so many times before, and swing your arms however you want, it'll help you. Aim for the highest jump you can get. Same with as in first, all the same things. Keep your knees bent when you land, and point your toes when you lift off to work your toe metatarsals and to strengthen your whole leg. For the past couple exercises and these next coming ones too, these ankle weights really make it a lot more work, but it's good for you. So squeeze your inner thigh as you're going up. This helps to strengthen your inner thigh, which is very good for doing beats and make you quicker, and you're just practicing the motion for the beat right now. If you do this exercise the lazy way, you won't feel anything. But if you squeeze every muscle you can in your body, you will feel the burn in every muscle you are squeezing. This one is basically the exact same as the other one, just you're using a different part of your abs, which it's good to use every part of your abs when you can. These next couple exercises are good for beats as well, working your inner thighs and getting you used to that motion. So turn out your knees as much as possible and keep them turned out as you're stretching your knees. You can put your arms wherever you want. Whenever we're on the ground, it doesn't matter. Whatever helps you. Sometimes if we're working the lower core, it'll help if you keep your hands by your sides. But here, it doesn't matter. You're not working your inner core, but you can still squeeze your core. So pretend you're doing a plie in the sixth position, but keep your toes and feet pointed, and try and bring your knees as close to your chest as possible to really work the core as well as the quads. This is great if you're wearing ankle weights, or you can put a ball between your legs, your thighs, or you can wear a resistance band going around your thighs to your ankles. It's great working the front part of your quads. And make sure you strain your knees as much as possible. These fire hydrant exercises don't help you at all in ballet, but I decided to include them because most ballerinas also do contemporary, modern, other styles which require to have strong glutes. And you want to make sure that all the muscles in your body are equally trained. So while working the rest of your body, we're also going to work our glutes. These exercises can be good for dancers, especially the ones we're doing right now, going to the side, because it can help with our turnout muscles on the outer part of our thighs. Squeeze your abs throughout this whole exercise, especially when you're bringing your knee to your chest. It really works those muscles. And if you squeeze it throughout the whole exercise, you can feel it working your lower abs as well when you're going towards the back. If you want to include a hamstring stretch as well, I'll lift your leg as high as you can to the back just to work those muscles that'll be good for splits. These next exercises as well are geared towards working your glutes, which we don't really need in ballet, but they also help work other parts like our inner thighs if you're squeezing your knees together as hard as you can. And it's also helping us work through our back while keeping it engaged. Don't let your hips rock side to side to make sure that your whole body is in line the whole time. This will help you with balancing and everything. This is really great if you have ankle weights or a resistance band. Try to squeeze the sides of your abs while you're doing this, working your obliques. Same with this next one. Work your side abs as hard as you can, squeeze them, and you can also bring your shoulder down as well as your knee up to get both the top and the bottom of your obliques working. This exercise is great for those admired 11 abs. So bring your knee to your opposite shoulder or your opposite elbow, whatever you can reach. This can also work as a stretch as well for your hamstrings. keep your abs and back engaged for this. This really helps for all the muscles required to be stable, to have good balance. If you did the right side first, this is really good for working the complete right side of your abs, your sides, your back. Especially try and get as close to a plank position as possible on one hand. So like make your hips level to the ground. You don't have to go all the way, but as much as you can really helps. Now going into the other side, same thing, it works your left side now depending on what side you started with. It doesn't matter what side you started with. If I say to start with the right, you can start with your left as long as you work the other side as well. So this is a mix between plank and downward dog while giving you a workout and a stretch all in one. So squeeze your abs when you're bringing your knee towards your chest, and when you're lifting your leg up, try and bring it as far back as possible to get that nice needle stretch. And when you're going into the downward dog needle thing, bring your supporting heel close to the ground as possible to work the calves, stretch your calves as well. When doing sit-ups, bring your shoulder blades off the ground to get the most out of this workout. It's not going to help you if you just like lift your head up a bit. Lift your body as much as possible. Try and imagine your nose just touching your knees. This might be really hard to last for the whole 50 seconds, but try to go as long as you can. If you want, you can take a few second break. Just try and hold this position. Squeeze your abs the whole time. Make sure your shoulder blades are lifted off of the ground. So you can do this with your feet on the ground, off the ground, whatever you want. If you want it to be more challenging, then keep your feet off of the ground and just try and bring your arms and hands to both sides and touch the ground. Have the same form as when we were doing the sit-up hold. Keep your shoulder blades off the ground and work the sides of your abs and keep touching your ankles. Same as before, keep your shoulder blades off the ground, especially the one when your arm is going towards your knee. Just lift that even higher and bring your knees as close as you can towards your chest. Lower your legs as close as you can to the ground without actually touching the ground. This really works your lower abs. Same thing here, don't let your legs touch the ground, but bring them as close as possible. And if you want to give this a stretch as well, you can grab the leg that's close to your head and just hold it there for a few seconds. Same here again. Don't let your legs touch the ground, but bring them as close as possible. And bring your knees to your chest as well. For this, weights are optional. I didn't use them. It was too hard for me to use them. But if you can, try using weights. You can put ankle weights on your wrists, or you could just use kettlebells or whatever you have. Keep your legs as close together as possible to get the most out of this exercise. If they're too much out to the side, then it's not going to work your back as much. Same goes here for keeping your legs as close together as possible. And if you want to work on that nice arabesque line, you could try not using your glutes and use most of your back instead for this exercise, although that is very hard to do. try to keep a good plank form. I am not a very good example of plank form, but just make sure that there's a straight line from the back of your head all the way down to your ankles. Using weights would also be great for this. Like if you have ones that you can easily put your hands on and they go, like they sit on the floor easily, you could use that. Just make sure you don't hit your back or your shoulder too hard. For this one, go at the pace that you can do the best. And if you're really up for the challenge, keep your hands in one spot and just lower your elbows up and down really quickly. When you're bringing your legs together, try and squeeze the inner part of your legs just to keep working those inner thighs. Weights are completely optional here, but they do make it harder for you and therefore gaining more muscle if you do use weights. Try and make sure that your arms are directly out to your side. If you need help with that, you can do this exercise against a wall and keep your elbows touching the wall. For this, try and keep your arms in a 90-degree angle. Don't lower them too much. Don't lift them up too much. Just keep it 90 degrees. That is the hardest position to keep them at, but it is a great workout. For all these arm exercises, it's great to squeeze your back as well, just to work those back muscles. Good for Arabesque, good for port de bras and everything. Try not to lower your arms too much. Bring them as high as you can, close to 90 degrees, just to get the most out of this exercise. And if you want more, squeeze your abs and your legs and every muscle you can while doing this exercise. Keep your chest open and sternum up. Good to work for your posture. There's always an opportunity to work on your posture. Now for the final segment, there's just 10 minutes left. The rest of it's going to be nice relaxing stretching, starting off with child's pose. So just sit, stretch out your back, your hips, try and get as low to the ground as possible, and just you can close your eyes, just keep it relaxing. And then next is cobra. So arch your back and stretch out your abs, because we did a lot of abs today, so it's nice to stretch them out. And it's good to stretch your back out as well. Next, we're going into downward dog. So bring your heels to as close to the ground as possible to stretch your calves and your hamstrings, and as well as your back and shoulders area. Next, we're going into our right lunge or left lunge, whatever you want to do. As long as you do both sides, make sure to keep your back leg stretched and not bent, although I am bending my knee just because it hurts to strain it, but you should be straining your knee as much as you can. And then next we're doing the same thing, but with our back knee bent. So this allows our hips to go more forward and stretch out our hip flexors more. And then we're sitting back a bit, just like halfway sit back. We will go further back later. So just stretch out your hamstrings, keep your knee straight. You can point or flex the foot, whatever you want. Flexing gives it more of a stretch, but if it's too much, just keep it pointed. And now we're sitting back all the way. Sit back on your heel. You can keep your foot pointed or stretched. Pointed or flexed, whatever you prefer, and just relax. And now we're just going to this triangle pose. Keep your hips in line. Don't let one go in front of the other. Keep them square and both knees straight. And try and sit back on your hips to just lengthen the back of your legs. Now we're just doing some needle kicks, just some light aerobics. Try, when you're kicking, let gravity do its work and just let your leg go forward and stretch that. Just let gravity help you out, your acceleration help you out. Now we're just going to hold split. There's a few different options, so you could do what I first did, just keep your hands straight, or you can cross it over for more of a stretch just to keep your hips more square, or you can lie down, make it relaxing, whatever you want. And again, your foot can be pointed or flexed. Now we're just going to do the left side of all these. So lunge, back knee as straight as possible. Try and make sure that your front knee is a 90-degree angle with the ground. Now same thing but bent. Just push forward on your hips. Now sit back a bit, strain that front leg, and you can flex or point, whatever you want. And just try and sit back, but keep your foot where it is. Now sit back all the way onto your heel, and you can just relax forward. You can close your eyes, so pointed or flexed, whatever you want. Next, we're going to the triangle pose. So same thing, keep your hips square, both knees strain, and sit back as much as you can just to lengthen the back of your legs, like your hamstrings and your calves. Next, we're going to do kicks again. And again, just let gravity and acceleration do its work and help you out and let you go further. And then we're going to hold split, and you can do whatever you want with your arms. You can hold it straight like that. You can cross it over for more, make sure that your alignment's straight, or you can relax forward. And then next, we're just going to hold butterfly. You can pulse your legs up and down if you want, or you can just hold it. If you want more of a stretch, you can bend forward and bring your nose to the ground. Then we're just going to do a little V-sit. You can point or flex your feet, but keep your knees straight and just fold forward as much as possible. And trying to keep your lower back straight, which will work your hamstrings. And then we're just going to do V-sit, but one leg is bent inwards. And just fold forward. And same thing, but on the other side. Try not to bend your lower back too much. Try and keep it straight and just fold forward. Like, try and stick out your butt a bit. And then same thing as the last two exercises, but our foot is now resting on top of our leg to stretch both of our legs at the same time. This is stretching the outer part of the leg of the bent one. And same thing, but other side. Try and bring your bent knee as close to the ground as possible. And next we're just going to do a basic forward fold. You can bend or flex, you can point or flex your feet, whatever works for you, but keep your knees as straight as possible and keep your back as straight as possible and bend forward. Try and stick out your butt a bit. Next we're just going to hold frog. If you aren't all the way flat, it's best to keep your feet on the ground and your hips raised and just like let gravity help you down, but keep your feet on the floor. And we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to make it a little bit of a cobra and just stretch out our back and abs. And this also helps to push your hips into the ground if you aren't all the way on the ground. And next we're just going to do a straddle. So you can't see my back leg, but it is the same as my front leg. They're both out beside me. And just fold forward. And try and keep your knees facing upwards, just to keep on rotating your legs. And you can sleep if you want. And next we're going to stretch out our arms, because we did some arms today. Try and keep your elbow facing the front, like don't bend it towards the side. Keep your elbow looking towards the back of your head. And same thing on the other side. And this is the last stretch. So just bend forward, do a forward bend. Your legs can be as far or close apart as you want. And just bring your hands together and reach them forward. Give that a nice back stretch, shoulder stretch, all of that while working your hamstrings. Okay, so this is the end of the workout. I hope you enjoyed it if you did it along with me. And this is the end of my culminating too. It's currently almost 10 o'clock, and I just finished editing, so hopefully because it's a little long, it's an hour and 14 minutes plus however long this video is, so hopefully it uploads before midnight, but yeah, I hope for the best. But I had a really great year with you, Miss Hamilton. It was nice to have you as my teacher again, and I really enjoyed this course. Thank you.